right, there we go. Welcome, welcome, and good evening. This is Jax coming to you across the interwebs, and you have reached Night Rights. Night Rights is a writing hangout. Hello, Cryptic. Night Rights is a writing hangout where we just sit around, chat about writing, and eventually do some writing, kind of, sort of. We'll get into that in just a quick second. How these work is pretty simple. If you're on Blue Sky, there is a link. You should probably click that link because otherwise you will not be able to chat in our chat room. And if you can't chat in our chat room, then I won't be able to read responses and then respond to them. And we cannot have social conversation, unfortunately. And that would make me very sad. So definitely consider clicking the link. You can say literally whatever you want so long as it doesn't make people uncomfortable or violate YouTube's TOS. There is always going to be a little icebreaker for those of you who are shy. There are many of us who are shy in the writing community, let's be real. These icebreakers tend to be some kind of writing question, not always, but often enough. And today's icebreaker is basically, what are your goals for this spring? Are you doing Camp Nano in April? Are you doing some other kind of challenge, or are you just going to chill out? I will tell you my goals in just a moment after I finish the usual spiel. In 30 minutes, we will start the first of our word sprints. Now, if you look at the top left-hand corner of your screen, you will see a bunch of timers. The first one is 20 minutes, and that is the actual word sprint time period. Now, word sprints are traditionally, if you have never done them before, they're periods in which you spend as much time as you want just being as productive as possible. Again, traditionally, this is writing. And then at the very end, you would read off your word count. We all celebrate you, and so on and so forth. However, here at Night Rights, we tend to be a little bit looser. You can write, you can edit, you can do anything writing related, or you can do stuff that isn't writing related. Cryptic over here does laundry oftentimes during the streams, although I did see a little notification that says you are also logging into Spirit City. Yes, I am stalking you. So it might be a little bit different, but in any case, back on topic, it can literally be anything you want. My only rule is that it must improve your life in some way during those 20 minutes. At the end of the 20 minutes, we will take a break. I will launch right back into talking to encourage you to take a break. Usually these are rants or something like that, or some other kind of fun things that people enable me to talk about. You, on the other hand, will be taking a break because self-care is important. So, use those 15 minutes to do whatever you like. We also celebrate your accomplishments, whatever they were, during the 20 minutes that came before the break. At the end of the 15 minutes, we will launch back into another sprint. We do this 3 or 4 times. Night Rights generally tends to be 3, and I do believe that tonight's going to be another 3, or someday we'll have a 4, but unfortunately, your non-binary writing parent, Jax, is not up for a full stream. I will tell you why in just a moment. But we'll do it for 3, so that is 3 20-minute sprints separated by 15-minute breaks each, in which we celebrate and so forth. At the very end, we will wrap things up with the schedule. So it's very simple, very straightforward. Click that link to join our chat so that I can say hello to you and so that we get to know each other. That having been said, Cryptic says, Supercar Alpha Agogistic Expialidocious. I walked right into that one. I did say that you can say whatever you want so long as it doesn't make any people feel uncomfortable and so long as it doesn't violate YouTube TOS. That does absolutely neither of those things, so you deserve that, Cryptic. Cryptic says, my goals are figure it out later. If that's goals for spring in general, that's understandable. I am saying if that is because I also noticed that you said that just as I was calling you out for doing laundry during the stream and also logging in on Spirit City. So it could also be for the stream too. If you do have goals for the stream, feel free to let us know. But anyway, my goals, and I say this because I have been very productive today, and honestly, spring is just around the corner. I will say this. Right outside my window, there is a tree, and I take pleasure in this tree because the tree tells me what season it's going to be. And right now, the tree is budding. So spring is just around the corner, my dudes. I do believe that daylight savings time is coming up very shortly for us Americans. Let me actually double check on that. Yeah, it's this coming March 8th, and it's going to be fun. I mean, daylight savings is never fun. I don't like the entire spring forward bit. I will actually be asleep during the spring forward for once, so that's good. But in general, like, I am ready for spring, and I'm kind of shocked by this because when I was growing up, I was a winter girly, right? But the older that you get, the more you're like, winter is such a hassle. And like, maybe it's just because I live in this particular area where it's sort of like I hate to shit, no pun intended, preemptively on my neighborhood. It's a very lovely neighborhood full of friendly people, but like they don't clean up after their dogs and they don't clean the sidewalks after snow. So it's sort of like I am basically confined to my apartment for basically 5 months out of the year because it's just too much of a hassle to go downstairs and leave. But so hilariously, my doctor prescribed me vitamin D pills. Well, he didn't prescribe it, you know. He was like, he looked at my blood work recently. He's like, everything looks normal, but dear Jesus, you need vitamin D. But I don't know. Like the older that I get, the more depressing winter feels. Like after that, after the bright spot that is the holiday season, and like I like Thanksgiving too, also recently because it's something to share with Benjamin. And the holiday season has always been my favorite set of holidays, but like after that bit, it's like everything just feels gray and dull. So like as I'm seeing all these signs of spring coming, I'm like, yes, absolutely. I'm here for this. I want warmer weather. I want trees to be budding. I want to go outside and be able to enjoy the day. And also, my Insta feed is also filled up with all these videos about how bumblebee queens are waking up and coming out of coming out of hibernation. I'm like, yes, yes, please. I wish to see bees again, and I am so delighted to see all these groggy little bumblebee queens, all fuzzy, crawling out of their little holes and stepping into the sun, all soggy and warming up, and it's so cute. I'm like, yes, spring in general. I wish for them to enjoy the spring. I wish to see bees. I wish to go take sunny walks. I wish for more daylight too, but in any case, goals. So basically, I have been very productive because I'm very excited by this warming weather. So that's part of why I was very excited today, but also recently a lucrative job opening popped up. So I actually redid my resume and put it out there in the world. And I normally don't talk about job opportunities at all because I am in an industry that's highly competitive. So it's highly doubtful that I'll get any traction with the job that I applied for today. But the fact that I'm actually giving it a shot and that I'm putting in the effort to put something together, it's like I'm coming out of it too. Like I'm slowly getting somewhere. But I don't know, like I was thinking again, or I had pulled out the letter where I had, where the auto loan thing was paid in full, and it notified me that the last tie to Dipshit X had been resolved. And I'm like, it would be nice to get, you know, I finally now can start rebuilding, I guess. So there's that. A lot of it is going to be personal. Just work on myself in general. Try to get my shit together. Get my health checked out. Go to therapy. Slowly find a gym. Start applying for jobs again. And I will say this, I don't even care if I get the job. It is across the country and hybrid, so it's like I don't know if I will hop on it without question if I do get it 100%. But I will not be heartbroken if I don't get it either, because that is a huge move, and you know, if I don't get it, I don't get it. But in any case, it's doing all that, but also in terms of writing, I'm still going to be working on this draft, and I'm working on this draft for the foreseeable future. We're only about a third of the way done with it. I might do Camp Nano to encourage myself to keep going with it. The downside is the reason why I don't write over 1,000 words a day as it is because it is the busy season, and it's going to be the busy season until clear into May. But I want to be a little bit more consistent with writing and talking about writing. So my goal is basically to continue drafting, but do 1 hour of writing a day, and to on top of that do a half an hour of looking at a job board. So I don't have to apply for jobs. I don't have to do anything. Just sort of like glance and see what's out there. Like just put in maybe not like a half an hour of job board, but like just a half an hour of self-improvement at least. That's aside from work. I don't know. I will figure out, but like I want to continue working on myself, and I want to continue building things up and continue progress. And I'm very excited about the idea of making progress in various fields. Like, I will also say that I am very done. Like, number 7 is going to be the final draft of this. Once it's done, I am going to read through, make minor edits, and I'm going to start putting together a query package, basically. I know I said that I was going to do self-publishing, but I still want to stick with the plan of querying while I start writing another manuscript, because what I want to do is I want to build up enough manuscripts to have some kind of production line. Like when I'm working on putting one book together or getting the entire self-publishing thing off the ground, I have one that's right behind it that's going to be ready to go within months after. Like, I want to have a complete manuscript that I'll be working on just as the first book launches, you know what I mean? So like, work on the launch of one book, but the other one's going to be right behind it. So in other words, I'm buying myself time. I'm buying myself time to pay down debts more so that I can afford self-publishing. Like, even if I had it broken down recently and found out that the entirety of self-publishing a novel costs less than what I pay in rent a month, I still kind of want to pay down my debts before I start doing that. So there's that. But also, I just kind of want to buy myself time to work on another book while I'm letting the first one cool. So, before I actually start thinking about publishing the first one at all. So that is going to be part of the springtime plans. At the very end of spring, no matter what stage the nameless song is actually in, I'm going to start doing research into how to put it together a query letter. Or just how to put together a query package in general in the year 2026. But when I say that the Nameless Songs draft, the 7th draft, is going to be the last one, I mean that it's going to be the last one that I rewrite, because I've mentioned this before, but I'm so tired of writing and rewriting the same book again and again because betas keep on shredding it. So there's actually not going to be a beta stage at all, because I'm tired of that shit. I'm tired of betas whose entire thing is just to tear down a book, you know? So, and I know it's probably on me because I said, you know, have at it. I just like edit the book and whatnot, but it's sort of like a lot of the beta comments I had that were very critical is sort of like the book was just not for you. You would have DNF'd it if you had the chance. And I am a little bit pissed because now I've been spending months and months trying to, over a year since the last draft, or the draft that went to the betas, trying to fix the book. And I'm just so tired of working on the same book. And I'm tired of, like, I love Mick and Eleanor, but I'm tired of writing their origins over and over again. I want to move on to the next part of their story, or I want to move on to a different story. It's been too long that I've been working on this, and that is why at most I might give it to readers to see what they think. Just in general, not actually like the kind of beta that I had. But I am very pissed off that basically I had the draft torn apart, you know? So 100% I'm not going to be doing that kind of read again. So there's that. It is going to go through edits, of course, and there will be a quote-unquote draft 8 in which I go through, clean it up, tighten up bits, and tighten up characterization and plot and so forth. Characters that were introduced in this draft, because Mick and Eleanor have been developed hell and back. And if I decide that I'm going to go through with self-publishing, I will send this out to an editor, and then there will be draft 9, but that's it. That is all that is the furthest I can take this book. Like, I cannot take this any further, and I refuse to do it. So, I don't know. Like, I just feel like I've been spinning my wheels for far too long. So, I am going to make 2026 and this draft or whatever be the year where I just put my foot down and I'm like, I'm so tired of people just holding me back. So I am going to do things my way, and I'm going to push through, and I'm not going to tolerate people who, like, not to be too super sensitive or something like that, but I'm not going to tolerate criticism where I didn't ask for it. I'm not going to tolerate people who only want to tear down what I have and not actually help build it. Like, I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. I'm also not going to tolerate people who I've actually recently blocked my old DM too, and it's because, like, I'm tired of the old fandom circles and whatnot where I gave so much and didn't get anything in return. And it's like how my ex ended up, essentially. Like, I realized basically after a lot of reflection that the ex was basically taking advantage of me just the same way that everybody else does. Like, they're sweet and kind to me until I can no longer give them what they need, and then all of a sudden they kind of toss me aside. And I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. Um, I am going to, one way or another, earn some self respect, essentially. And it's going to be an excellent year. That was a lot of rambling. I do apologize. I think the short form of what I'm trying to say is I'm very ready to push forward. I'm very ready to take on new projects. I'm very ready to release what I can do out into the world. I am very ready to do all that, and I don't need the approval of folks who would not actually care to enjoy what I have to do and enjoy what I have to say. And you should also take into consideration that as well. Like, if you're surrounded by people who only tear you down, that's their problem, not yours. Your only issue is to realize that you don't have to tolerate that, and you can find people who do appreciate you and what you do. It's just that, you have to take that first step. I'm a little also angry because my mom and I tried to have a conversation about this, and she was like, she was very angry, and she was like, you are wallowing in self-pity, you have to give yourself some credit. I'm like, well, first off, this is called depression, and second off, fuck you, but also, fuck you, you're right, god damn it. But anyway. Anyway, I feel like that is a very important idea in general. Like, you can't fight, and you can't keep surviving in this world just by rolling with it. You have to, and just by going with the flow and waiting for somebody else's approval. You have to be boldly you have to boldly carve out your life. And I realize that's not always possible for everybody. That is a very privileged thing to say, for sure. But at the same time, it also means that once you find the life that you want to live, defend it with everything that you have until, because, I don't think I even need to say it, really. There will be people out there who will tell you one way or another that they will judge you for how you live your life, and that what you're doing is wrong one way or another. And don't take this out of context. I'm not saying there are certain ways of being yourself that you probably shouldn't. I say this coming from the Pokemon fandom, which had a lot of people who were very iffy about certain things. Let's just say they would end up on lists if they were, they would end up on certain lists if they were celebrities. Don't do that. But I am saying that any other mode of living your life, if you're going to be queer, for example, people, if you are queer, for example, people are going to press their opinions on you. And in this day and age, it is perceived as dangerous to be who you are. And there are many forces that will want to prevent you from being who you are. But absolutely, you should live your life as loudly and proudly as possible. And what I was saying was not originally about being queer, obviously. It was just about mere existence, because I'm so tired of working and being under the yoke of somebody else and never fucking getting anywhere. But I've learned recently that it's possible for me to push my foot down and push back, and people will start to realize that they're asking a lot of me. And if they don't realize that, then they're not people who deserve my time. And that is the main crux of it. So I am going to be working on a lot of that this spring. I keep wandering away from the point, and I think the point is that I'm going to fucking work on this manuscript. I don't know if I'll finish it. It is only a third of the way done. But I am going to fucking sit down and work on a goddamn chapter a week until it's done. Maybe even 2 chapters a week if I can muster it. And I am going to accept the fact that it's not going to be perfect and it's not going to be loved by everybody, including the fucking betas who ripped it apart in the first place. It's going to fucking exist. I am going to write what the fuck I want, and people are just going to have to deal with it. I am going to carry around a goddamn bee plush, because the bee plush makes me happy and is more loyal to me than my goddamn ex, and I'm not going to tolerate anybody who tells me otherwise, that it's not adult-like and not appropriate for being an adult. And I'm going to be as loudly me as I want to be. I'm going to take up space, and I'm going to work on myself, and I'm going to be fucking happier, because fuck everything. I am so fucking tired of waiting around for something to happen. It's fuck. Fuck everything. Just fuck everything. Fuck everything. I am going to goddamn do whatever I please in order to be me. And that's it. That is my message that is my goal for the spring. Fucking finish the manuscript and fucking be unapologetic about whatever comes out and whatever I put on social media. And whatever I put out there in the world. Whether it's book related or just myself. And that is my message. Anyway, it is 2 minutes until our very first sprint. I do thank everybody who listened to all of that. But yes. Two minutes until our very first sprint, so if you are working on something, feel free to put it in the chat. Cryptic says I meant it for the icebreaker. I actually might put away laundry tonight because I need to do laundry so I can pack tomorrow for the con I'm going to on Friday. Totally cool. Cryptic says it's this Saturday. It is actually, according to... It's actually Saturday, kind of Saturday over Sunday. You know how it is. It's like the middle of the night. But it is coming basically on the second Sunday of every spring, of every March. So yes. Cryptic says, you deserve to be unapologetically you. Hell yeah. I do feel good about making progress. But also, yes. Also, side point, I just want to advertise, folks, somebody asked me if Benjamin was a special order, and again, I must say that Benjamin was bought from the American Natural History Museum gift shop, and he shall be here as well. Mott the Paladin. Hello, Mott. Welcome. Working on a microfiction piece under 300 words, so not doing sprints, but writing and editing at the same time. Totally cool. But yes, I will tell you the story about Benjamin after our first sprint, because it is a very cute story, and also his first birthday will be up in a couple of months, and I'm already very excited. But anyway, it's 9 p.m., so back straight, crack those fingers, take a deep breath in, and out. One more time. And out. 20 minutes are on the clock. Get ready, get set, and here we go. the first of our sprints. How did we do? I had gotten 331 words done, which is actually kind of surprising because I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to get that much done at all. So, hell yeah. Not bad for a warm-up. Especially since it is, we've just moved into another room that I have yet to introduce, and I do not like to describe rooms all that much. It's a lot of exposition, and I always get to, for some reason, I always think that I need to describe literally everything, and you don't. But at the very least, I kind of am okay with how this turned out so far. I need to figure out where the rest of this chapter is going, but we will get there eventually. Anyway. Cryptic says, I'm so excited for it to hit, meaning daylight savings time. Well, I'm sleeping in a hotel room, lol. Sarcastic as fuck, to be clear. I am just in general looking forward to having it hit while I'm asleep. Like, I know that you're sarcastic, but for me, I have not been asleep during, say, daylight savings time for a long time. And I will tell you, if that is not your norm, that watching yourself go from like 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. all of a sudden sucks hard. Like, you are not any more tired than you usually are, but it still kind of smacks you in the face that you have spent that much time awake, and it feels so fucking weird. So I'm personally looking forward to it. We'll see where things go though, because I do have errands, and I made the mistake of inviting a friend who usually likes to try to drag me off to Brooklyn and have me spend the night crashing on his couch. It is fully platonic, don't worry, but I invited him for moral support because I'm doing adult, big non-binary person errands in the city this weekend. It is very boring, but it is something that I have to do, and I figure it's going to be super fast because I've done it before. It is basically closing a bank account. And if you've never done that before, weirdly enough, a lot of banks don't mind if you're like, hey, I don't want to do business with you anymore. Give me my money and we shall never speak to each other again. I've never done it with 2 accounts at once though, but I am moving on from a bank that I've had for years and years. It's just time for me to go a little bit elsewhere. But that kind of thing only takes a few minutes to do, ultimately, but it's kind of like how applying for the job today only actually took maybe an hour total, or actually I would say 2 hours total, because I had to revise the entire resume and then write a cover letter to explain that even though I live across the country, I'd be willing to relocate, etc., etc. But when I got it done, it was like I opened up the file at like 9 o'clock and I was doing work at the same time. I finished it off at like 1 o'clock and I was like, why was I putting this off? It's not that bad. Like most adult things are not that bad if you actually just get them over with, but it's like the actual act of doing it sucks. Anyway, that is my story. Point is, I just hope to be unconscious during that switchover, because I just would not like to experience the fuck, I lost an hour in the middle of the night thing again. Sin has come. Hello, Sin. Welcome. Hopefully you're still around. Cryptic says the laundry is put away. Hells yeah. Excellent job with the laundry. Mott says, I swear it took me 5 minutes just to find the correct spelling of liaison, but I'm slaying at the story. Yeah, to be fair, that is one word that sucks, but it's like, it doesn't have good synonyms, so you have to use it, so 100% I understand. Cryptic says, I'm prone to waking up super early at con already, and I just think this is going to make it more likely for me to be up like 3 hours before anything's going on, lol. On the other hand, you are springing forward, so it's going to be more like 2 hours. No, but for real, at the very, on the positive side, if you wake up super early, that just means that you get breakfast super early. And con breakfast, I don't know about this con, but normally con breakfasts kind of suck. So go get your breakfast, and then that way you don't miss anything at the actual con. So don't worry, it's not going to suck as much as you think it will. I promise. Or at least I hope it won't. Mod says, I closed 2 accounts at once a few years ago, and it was chill. Good luck with your task. Thank you. Yeah, like I even mapped out where my current bank is. So it's literally just going to be like 10 minutes at 10 to 20 minutes at one bank, and then 5 minutes at the other one, and then my friend and I are going to go off and do writing in probably a bar somewhere. We're going to be, and the funny thing is, I can't really drink anymore because I'm super duper lightweight, and I've turned into the kind of drunk where I have like half a drink, and then all of a sudden all I want to do is put my head on the table and go to sleep. So I can't drink anymore. And my friend just doesn't drink. So it's we go to a bar for the food and company, essentially, and the vibes. But that's probably what we're going to end up doing. We'll see. We haven't really talked about it, but he is very eager to potentially serve as emotional support. And if he doesn't, then I'm going back to my little nook, my little neighborhood, and say screw it, and we shall see what happens. But anyway, Companion Wolf has also just walked in. Hello, Companion Wolf. We were talking about adulting and whatnot. But yes, those are my plans for this weekend. There's that, and there's also a social gathering out in the middle of New Jersey, don't ask, on Sunday, because it's going to be, I play Ingress, which, for those of you who don't know, is Pokemon Go's older sci-fi sibling. Yeah, I mean this literally because Pogo used a lot of Ingress's maps and not assets, but, resources to build upon in order to become the original Pokemon, or in order to become Pokemon Go. So, literally. And Ingress is just that with aliens and sci-fi interface. But anyway, it's still live, shockingly, and people still do events, shockingly. And every second Sunday of the month, they have an event where you're supposed to go out and you're supposed to do quests together, theoretically, and you get badges. And these badges are displayed on your profile, and you're supposed to do 6 of them so that you form a row. And if you do 6 of them, then there's an achievement that takes up one. And once you get a certain number of rows, or if you've attended a certain number of Sundays, then you unlock an achievement for that, and you can build upon this achievement. So I have not touched this achievement in a long time. I think the last time that I went after the achievement was in summer? It's been a while. So I'm kind of eager to get back into it. That's one thing that I'd actually like to continue doing as we move into 2026. Like, go back out there, start exercising more, and by exercising I mean go the entire length of Manhattan doing quests and getting Chivos. But yeah, Cryptic says, I remember playing that in high school. Oh god, it has been over 10 years by now. Yeah, actually, I have been playing for 10 years so far. I started playing the first year that they released it for the iOS, and I have been here ever since. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that is my plan. So that's Sunday. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be social, and I'm going to do adult things. And I am going to slowly creep towards getting things done. Companion Wolf says, I miss you, Ingress. It didn't die. I'm just bad at going outside. You have to... You really... With the Ingress, it really has to be a social thing. Because the game itself... I'm going to say it outright. It blows. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do play it solo. But when I play it solo, I am doing this quest thing. I am going out... they call them banners. So I go out and I find a banner. And I do the banner, and I do have fun because, like, I'm walking, I'm listening to music, I'm seeing parts of the city that I wouldn't normally go to, and it's a lot of fun. But really, the actual appeal of Ingress is going out and meeting people and socializing in places that you wouldn't normally go to either. So, I don't think I would have lasted this long with Ingress if I didn't know people and if I didn't go to Anomalies, which are huge Ingress events. If I didn't go to Second Sunday, if I didn't do First Saturday, which is a similar Ingress event on the first Saturday of every month, obviously. If I didn't do operations or stuff like that, it gets me out, it gets me to hang out with people, catch up with people, and there are communities. So it's understandable if you're bad at going outside because, like, Ingress itself is not an incentive. The community surrounding Ingress is the incentive, in my opinion. So if you can find a good community near where you are, go out for them, you know? Meet them, and that's how you end up pushing yourself to get out. Because I would be right there with you. I would be just like, I would rather stay inside and play video games. But I'm getting lured out. And it's sort of like, this itself is like a 3-hour trip out into the middle of fucking New Jersey. And I would not normally do it, but my friends are like, I want to do this. And I'm like, fuck you. I guess I'm going to. Yeah, dick shits. Cabano says, also Wrangle, rate literally any part of my gay baseball story here. The scientist simulation MLN story. Finish plotting the latter first, maybe, though. I would support finish plotting first, but that having been said, I do like both of those goals. Like, absolutely be gay, do baseball, and be gay, do sci-fi. I'm here for that. I realized that I also had promised in the just before we did our first sprint, that I would tell you the story of Benjamin and this break. I mean, we do have a minute and a half, so I guess if y'all want to hear the story of Benjamin, and I only bring this up because somebody asked about Benjamin's origin story. They're basically on Blue Sky, they were like, did you special order Benjamin? And I'm like, no, Benjamin was a store-bought plush. Fuck it, I will say and tell you, because, like, I'm going to keep a promise, and also, Companion Wolf has encouraged me just now. I'm using that as my excuse. But basically, Benjamin, as I've mentioned before before the end of before our first sprint, that he came from the American Natural History Museum, which is a gift shop. There's a link on my Blue Sky to the exact page where you can order your own bee. You're one of Benjamin's hive mates from the exact same store. But a friend of mine had I was at a friend's birthday, and I will ignore a little bit, so I do apologize if I talk into the next sprint, but I was celebrating a friend's birthday. The friend wanted to has a tradition where they go out and they do one thing, and it's all, they do one bash, whatever they want to do. So they wanted to go and see the dinosaurs at the American Natural History Museum. So we all went, saw the dinosaurs, went to every single gift shop. At the very end, in the very first level of the museum, there's a gift shop that's completely dedicated to bees. I see this display of bee plushes from across the way, and I make a beeline, haha, to this bee kiosk. I pick one up, and I notice the price tag, and I'm like, $24 for a plush. I don't know if I can spend that. And the one of my friends, not the birthday person friend, but another friend, I turn to them and I go, I think I need to be convinced not to buy this plush. And that friend puts her hand on my shoulder and goes, do you see yourself cuddling this bee every single day? And I was like, yeah, probably. And then she was like, forget the bee. And that has taught me two things. Number one, trust my instinct, because Benjamin has been cuddled every single day ever since he came home. I have not touched literally anything else that I bought that day, but Benjamin has been cuddled every single day. Number two, do things for yourself. Just do things that make you happy. And that goes back into what we were saying before the sprints. Like, focus on yourself and make yourself happy and live as loudly and proudly as yourself as possible. So long as you're not doing anything weird, if you know what I mean. Like, if you would be a celebrity and you would get on certain lists, don't do that thing. Alright? But anyway, yeah, that is it. Cryptic says get the bee. Yes, that is, that should be the general philosophy. Whatever it is, get the bee. Anyway, I have talked 2 minutes into the next sprint. There's 18 minutes on the clock now, so I will shut up now. Good luck. How did we do? Another 324 words on my end. And also I started making tea for tonight because after this next sprint, I will probably spend a chunk of time just chilling, relaxing with some tea. Maybe I'll play some Stardew Valley, I don't know. And just sort of like start easy or start relaxing for sleep. But yes, Commanuel says Benjamin is a squishable, right? He's round enough to be, if not LOL. He is a very round little bee, but unfortunately, no, he is not a squishable. He is actually an ecokin. It is an ecokin is a plush doll put out by a company called Wild Republic that specializes in eco-friendly animal plushes. So Benjamin is Benjamin is an ecokins, not a squishable, sadly. He is very squishable, just in general. He is very soft and fuzzy, and his arms are very squishy, but and filled with apparently recycled plastic. But let's see. Companional says I ate some snacks, which is excellent because eating is also excellent. Cryptic says I've just been coloring one of my OC's personas. That is fucking amazing that your OC has a fursona, by the way. So I'm here for this. Mott says got distracted sending a letter, lol. But at the very least, that is progress. And I have mentioned, this might have been before you jumped on, that word sprints are very loosely defined here. You can write, but you can also do whatever you like. My only rule for the 20-minute periods in which we're supposed to be writing is that you improve your life in some way. So if you're using it to get done something that you wanted to, or that you've been meaning to get done but you've been putting off, that is close enough. That is progress. So that is a word sprint well spent. So yes, the sending of the letter counts. Companional says Ecokins my beloved. So excellent. Heck yeah that you know what an Ecokins is. I wasn't sure, and I was like bracing myself to say no, Benjamin is not a Webkins either. Man, remember Webkins? That was like slightly after my time, I admit. I had a cousin who was obsessed with Webkins, though. Like, collected them like Beanie Babies. Like, Beanie Babies were my time. And I actually did collect Beanie Babies for a little bit. My grandmother apparently collected them for me and was like, you will inherit these, and I swear to God, if that tub full of Beanie Babies shows up, I am going to set fire to them and see if it's true that they're flammable. But, Cryptic says it's specifically Hercules from No Wrong Heroes. Now I need to know what Hercules' fursona is. Cryptic says, I know Wild Republic and Ecokins by extension. Hell yeah. Cryptic says, BRB, gotta feed the cats, and that is why I'm not pressing too hard on the fursona, but you do owe me a fursona explanation. Companional says, I remember Webkins and Beanie Baby. Hell yeah. Companional says, do you want me to take the Beanie Babies? I will. I like Beanie Baby. I mean, please do. As cute as Beanie Babies are, and I highly doubt that my grandmother has the Beanie Baby either, it's just like they take up room, and I'm not super passionate about Beanie Babies like I was when I was like 8. And I feel like my grandmother, towards the end of her life, or actually throughout my adulthood, she always seemed to think that I had not aged past 8 years old or even 3 years old. She would like tell one story about how my favorite word was not when I was 3 years old, because it was the 90s, like the early 90s, and the in thing was being sarcastic, you know? And it's like I was 3 years old too. So she would always tell just that story, and it would earn a sigh for me. And eventually I was like, I don't like that story at all. Just because it's like the same story and it's so, she told it so obnoxiously. But in a similar vein, it's sort of like, why do you think that I would want a tub full of Beanie Babies now that I'm like an adult? When I told you it, like, she only collected Beanie Babies because I told her at 8 years old that they'd be valuable one day or something like that. Or like, I like Beanie Babies or something like that. Something, either one of those things. And she just collected them. And it's sort of like, and then she like showed me this tub full of Beanie Babies and said that this would be part of the inheritance. And I was like a whole ass adult, and I don't even remember what I told her way back in the 90s about Beanie Babies. I was like, I really do not want these Beanie Babies. Cryptic says, I'm back. Welcome back. Also, you owe me an explanation of who Hercules' persona is. Companion says, legit, let me know if you have any cats, dogs, etc. for the rainbow inchworm. I will pay shipping. I will let you know. I'm not 100%. It's my grandmother admittedly had been dead for a couple of years. I don't know what happened to all of her possessions. I think I told my family that I'd be okay with throwing away the Beanie Babies, so I have no doubt that they're in the garbage by now. But that is my tub full of Beanie Babies story. My dad's kind of like similar because he tells only one story. Like, when I was, I think 11 or something like that, 10 or 11, this was the last time my dad was in the Philippines, and the second to last time that I was in the Philippines. And we were at the family house, and we had gone to a market, and we had bought these 2 crabs that were supposed to be for lunch, but I had made friends with the crab and wouldn't let anybody boil it. Like, I had basically taken it out of the pot with one of my cousins, and we were like, no, you are not cooking Sebastian Jr. But for some reason, this is the only story that my dad tells, and at some point, I kind of like was like, you don't have any other stories about me. You have all these stories about, you know, my brother, but nothing else about me. And he's like, I'm so sorry that you don't like that story. It's like, that's not the point. But, you know, this is free therapy session. I do apologize. But anyway, that is my family in a nutshell. It's sort of like, we hold on to things that are from the past, and it's really difficult to let go. And it's sort of like, you gotta let go at some point. Anyway, if the Beanie Baby tubs still exist, I will let you know, Companion Wolf. But other than that, if they show up on my doorstep, I will remove and index what Beanie Babies I have, and I will let you know. Any Beanie Babies that don't get adopted are getting fucking burned. Companion Wolf says Hercules is a lion, partly because I seem to remember a prominent lion in which with Hercules in mythology, and Hercules' main arc is in learning a bunch of toxic masculinity BS. Yes, I do believe it's the Nemean lion that Hercules is with, but basically, you know how he has like the 12 labors of Hera, right? One of those labors is hunting or getting the pelt of the lion, of that specific lion. So it's this mighty lion. It's a killer. It'll maul you to death and eat you alive and shit like that. And Hercules has to go and fight the lion and then get its pelt and then bring it back to Hera. So that is the story. Cryptic says, so it's kind of hilarious that his persona is a lion, because it's sort of like he's wearing the pelt that he skinned off of the lion now. But anyway, Cryptic says, and I feel like a lion works very well with that. It does also, because I like the idea of toxic masculinity on top of that. So, 100% lions do represent, like, hit the nail on the head for that. Companion Wolf says, ooh, lion is a good persona. It is. And Cryptic says, yes, that one, yes. I've decided to look up what the bee Beanie Baby is, and the first one I see is Buzzy the Bee, which is ugly as sin, and I might not actually want to keep that. Like, what the fuck am I looking at? I don't know if you've ever looked at this, but like, I am so puzzled by that face. Like, okay, so Buzzy the Bumblebee has cute little round yellow face, stripes. Two of the stripes are too thin for some reason, or one of the stripes is too thin at least. So that's great, number one. But most importantly, I'm like looking at this face, and it has like tusks. I don't even know what that is. Like, what am I looking at? Like, I think it's supposed to be mandibles, but they're pointed in the wrong direction and too thick. And in any case, where are its antennae? Meanwhile, I look over to the side, and there's Bumble the bee, which was the 90s bee, and I'd be okay with this. It has proper antenna. Buzzy the bee is not pleasant, no. Companion Wolf said, is bee being a baby not pleasing? The Buzzy the bee is a crime against nature. But the southern one, it's not so bad. Let me see something real quick. There is like... Okay, so there are a couple of bee plushes. Or bee... Beanie Babies. I'm kind of pulling all of them up because there's apparently a entire website dedicated to Beanie Babies. So like the 1995 one is actually kind of cute. It's like this round bumblebee. It's got black wings. It's got a little face that's kind of reminiscent of Benjamin's but black. It's got little cute little thin antenna and it looks proper. It looks like a bee. Buzzy the bee, however, is a fucking monster. It's not on this website, but I do see it like on Walmart.com. And it's like, what? Its face is so fucking weird. Oh, there are multiple no, this is the same one. But it's like, what is that? It's so weird. And there's another website that holds Buzzy the bee upright, but it's like, then its wings are on its chest. Like, this is not, no, absolutely not, absolutely not. I would normally be cool with all bees, but nope, not that one. Nope. Companion Wolf says, my partner and friends have convinced me to give him a cute pink nose, though. I approve of a cute pink nose. 30 seconds until the next sprint, by the way. We are actually going to be on time. Meantime, let me get my tea because it has been brewing for, God, probably 20 minutes now. Oops. This is going to be the strong-ass chamomile, guys. This is going to be conk me right the fuck out. All right, 20 minutes are on the clock. Good luck for that last sprint, guys. All right, that is the last sprint. How did we do? Let's see, let's see. $493 for that last bit. I will be just finishing off a teeny tiny little bit at the very end. Alright, there we go. Anyway, Mott says you can always add water if it's so strong it's bitter. Luckily, it's not that. It's chamomile, so it just gets a little bit more floral and sweet. It's also like... Okay, so it is Celestial Seasonings, and I know that brand is a little bit controversial. It's the only chamomile that I could find that was actually chamomile. But, it's also weak-ass tea. So luckily it's just it's slightly candy flavored water. But absolutely I will keep that in mind if I ever accidentally overbrew my good Earl Grey that I start off the day with. Cryptic says got a pink nose and gold claws onto Hercules and then got tired and needed to stop. That is totally cool. Which means that is also good thing that we're only doing 3 sprints tonight. So, this is also the part of the show where I talk a little bit about where we are and what we're going to be doing for the rest of the week. So let me bring out the calendar. I also admit that I was kind of looking a little bit at Insta. I just want to say that Insta has been a delight, and I don't use my actual Instagram profile. I do have an alt for Benjamin pics, but I have yet to populate it. That will hopefully be done soonish. But in any case, I do go on Insta to look at bees, and winter is such an interesting time because, or at least this month, because half of the bee posts are like, bumblebees are just waking up, and here's this little cutie pie of a bumblebee crawling out of her nest and getting ready to fly again and make more bumblebee babies, and it's so cute. But then you have all the beekeepers who are like, I rescued this honeybee from the snow, because what happens is honeybees don't hibernate, and the worker bees will survive through the winter, right? So the thing is, they will cluster inside a hive in basically a ball of bees to keep themselves warm, and they will stay there for months at a time. But the bees are still awake and active, and they're eating. So they'll occasionally go outside whenever it's warmer to take cleansing flights, which means that they fly around and poop. Sometimes, however, they will go outside and try to fly and poop, but then the problem is that bees can't stand cold. What happens is that if they're too cold, then their bodily fluids will literally start to kind of freeze, or their flight muscles will just stop functioning, and they'll fall to the ground, and then slowly they'll become paralyzed, and then if they're in that state too long, they will die. So beekeepers will sometimes find bees who have flown out of the hive to do their little cleansing flights, but they kind of dropped out of the sky and onto the ground, and now they need help getting warmed up and back into the hive. So a lot of the accounts I follow are like, here's the honeybee that I saved. I have warmed her up and she is now inside my sleeve, or I've brought her inside so that she can have a little Hive Alive, which is a supplement that they feed bees. And now she's like grooming herself on a lamp, or she's just grooming herself on the safety in the indoors, and I will deliver her back outside whenever it is daylight again. But I'm gonna miss those posts because those are the cutest little things that I have ever seen in my life. Like, just little honeybees grooming inside and just chilling out and just warming up as if they're in a ski lodge and they need like warmth and a hot cocoa in order to function again. It's Don't get me wrong, I will be delighted to watch all the other posts, but yes, I will miss those ones. Anyway, I only say that because I opened it up and it was on Instagram again, and on a post about a bee that had a bee grooming because it was brought inside and it had been fed and warmed up, and now it was like becoming active again. So I'm gonna go look at the calendar now instead and talk about the schedule. So I did talk about how I'm doing adult things on Saturday, but that does not mean that I'm not going to be doing a Saturday morning stream. So if you wake up early, 8:30 a.m. on Saturday the 7th is the next stream, which is going to be a tea rights. Come join us. We are very active and we like to type a lot and chat a lot, and it's fun. And sometimes we do 4 sprints, and it's all good. I will not know how many we'll be doing that day until I sit down and I'm like, I have enough energy to do this, or it's only like 10:30, we can do one more. I do hope to be out of the house by noon though, so that I can actually do things, so it'll probably only be 3. We'll see. There are not going to be special streams between now and then because tomorrow is D&D night. And Friday is just going to be about me trying to survive without bashing my head into a wall after being overworked all day. So it's going to be all fun. Then let's see, Sunday nothing because I told you I'm going to be. I told you already, but just to go back over it, I am going to be out all day with friends in the middle of fucking New Jersey for some reason. Monday and Tuesday is probably a no because a new patch just came out-ish, and on Final Fantasy, which means that I am throwing myself at bright and colorful as many days as I can, and one of them is not going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow is Saturday or Sunday, so therefore I need to catch up. Which means that the next night rights, that is a lot of words. The next night rates will be March the 11th, 8:30 p.m. as usual. So again, because I rambled a lot here, tea rates, 8:30 a.m. on March the 7th is going to be our next stream. Our next night stream is going to be 8:30 p.m. Wednesday the 11th, and there's not going to be any streams between now and Saturday or Saturday and Wednesday. Just 100% absolutely not. I'm so sorry. Someday we'll actually do I'll intend on doing special streams, and there will actually be special streams, but unfortunately it's not going to be this coming week. So again, tea rights, Saturday the 7th, 8:30 a.m. 8:30 a.m. Sprints start at 9 a.m. Night rights, March the 11th, 8:30 p.m. Sprints start at 9 p.m. A-okay? A-okay. So that having been said, it is 10:30. I got a lot more done than I thought I would, I do have to admit. So I do feel good about this. Let me just, curiosity speaking, 1,175. That's not bad for daily progress. I'm going to try to aim for at least 500 words a day. I know I mentioned at the very beginning that I'm not going to, well, I didn't mention word counts at the very beginning because I don't want to put word count requirements on my daily I sit down and write for an hour, because some days you just feel like you can get all the words out, other days you can only get two. But I do want to get back into things. I do feel like I have been a very slow writer. Like, I'm looking at Blue Sky and a bunch of people are already putting books out or already planning on putting books out, and I'm like, I'm over here still working on something that I brought over from Tumblr. So, like, I have to get a move on this, and I want to finish up. I want to get better habits in if I want to actually make books. So, 1 hour a day, and aim for 500, but really it's a soft goal. For Camp Nano, I'm hoping to actually sit down and write at least maybe a third, the next third of the book, get through the next third of the book. If we're at 1/3, I want to be at 2/3 the way done by the end of Camp Nano in April. But no hard word count goals and no hard plans, really. So I guess I'm just repeating my goals. But we'll see where the spring takes us. Hopefully we will, hopefully we won't. But in any case, again, I always love it when you guys are here. And I thank you all for coming too. And again, next stream will be on the 7th, Saturday. And next Night Ride stream is on the 11th. I hope to see you for one of them. If I do, I'll see you then. Take care of yourselves until then. If I don't, then just take care of yourselves in general. Get plenty of water, get plenty of rest. Know that you're loved and know that I love you. But I am going to wrap up the stream here. And I'm going to spend the rest of the night either just drinking this chamomile tea until like midnight and vibing. Maybe I'll play a little bit of Stardew. Maybe I'll just knit. Who knows? It's going to be a special fun surprise as soon as I get off. But yeah. In any case, Companional says goodnight, and I say goodnight, and I love y'all. Peace, and I will see you soon. Good night.